What is happening, everyone? Welcome into another episode of TBQ Football. Today, I'm your host, David Gillespie. And joining me on the show, we've got our guys over here. We've got Nick Wilcox below me. And to the right, man, we've got our man. Listen, this guy, he's a different kind of cat, man. He's just we don't know where he's from, if he's Hispanic, if he's Italian, if he's not.
Whoa, now you're getting it. Aaron's not even here yet.
The show didn't even start.
Not even here yet.
I just love to throw you guys off guard, you know? I just like to throw you guys off guard, you know?
It's like the promotional.
If you really want to like help that narrative, I recommend just get me a sombrero and an Adidas Mexico jersey.
It's coming. Amazon's hooking your boy up. We got the wheels in motion right now. No, I'm kidding.
You got the mustache for it.
I mean,
he does. Full beard, you know.
If you're going to get me one, the Team Mexico World Cup, the Aztec print one was actually really, really dope. It's really cool. Yeah, no, I love the you guys should know that by now. I collect I forgot a jersey. Give me a sec.
I love the Spanish jerseys, like the Spanish soccer jerseys. But George Ruggiero is on the show with us, as you can see. You know, he's our guy, man. So many doppelgangers to note for him too. Like, I mean, anywhere from Billy Mays to Chester A. Arthur. There's just so many. Like, I don't even know. Like, it's almost like he's like an anamorph of a human being, you know? Like there's not one identity. There's so many, you know? There's so many. I'm in shock and awe every time I introduce this man. But folks, we got a fucking show in store for y'all today, man.
Finally,
so great, you know?
Right the first time. Good job. Round of applause. George, cue up the mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes. One of these days, all of my teeth are gonna fall out from just gritting my teeth every time I do that. I'm just gonna go exciting, and then all of this gonna shoot out like all at once, like a fucking flash grenade, you know? It's gonna be wild, folks. This show, it's gonna be so insane. We're talking about the NFC East here, okay? We're talking about the NFC East up in this biatch. This is the most highly touted division in the NFL this year. Okay, it has to be. And I cannot wait to see how spicy this is going to get. I know this is going to get spicy. I know we are not going to agree. There's just going to be, there's going to be fisticuffs exchange. It's going to get insane.
Fighting, they're swinging.
We're just going to go ape shit on this one, you know? So it's going to be so much fun. It's going to be so much fun. I can't wait for it, man. I can't wait for it. We're going to be talking NFC East, all sorts of standings, all sorts of scenarios that we see playing out within the division. What's going on, Ben Buster? Good to see you. Shout out to Ben Buster of Bloodline Entertainment Network. Also, of course, in addition to following us on TBQ Sports, be sure to additionally follow Bloodline Entertainment Network at the Bloodline ENT on Twitter, man. I really want to see them grow to greater heights, because they've been an awesome home for us. They've been an awesome family for us, and they've been sensational, man. They're building so many different things over there in terms of creating new diversity for content. Ben Buster, I believe he's got a show. He does movie reviews. Exactly. I was just about to say he does all the new releases, man. It's great stuff. It's so awesome. It's so awesome. So catch his content over there on the Bloodline Entertainment Network on YouTube. It's awesome. What are you guys cracking up about? What's going on in this fucking private chat?
Choking over his beer over there.
Got my Shanghai FC kit on.
I'm not kidding. My dad got this for me in China.
That's wild. Wow. That is, you really are a very cultured person, you know? So now we don't know if he's Asian too. It's like, he could be anything, you know, at this point. You know? He's going to be speaking Mandarin next show and just try to flex on us before we know it. I just want to fucking see it, you know? Going John Cena on our asses, you know?
I know, that's what I was doing, the John Cena one. You're beach.
Okay, that's good.
Well,
that's good.
That's what we're doing
I want to apologize to our entire Asian demographic out there that are tuning into the show. George meant no harm. He doesn't know any better.
The funny thing about that John Cena thing, you guys do know what he's talking about the entire time, right? He's talking about He's talking about how much he likes ice cream and Fast and Furious 9 because they were in China filming Fast and Furious 9.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't know about ice cream though. That's okay. Interesting.
Bichiling means ice cream.
Okay. All right. This is the first Mandarin word I think I've ever learned. So there you go.
Have you watched a single episode of Ni Hao Kai Lan? Ni Hao means
no. I have no idea what the hell that is. That could have been,
but China.
That could have been a shampoo brand, and that would have been just as plausible.
No,
I don't know.
That's Maybelline. Brand? Get it right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it was. So I'm a lost little puppy out here. Folks, we got an exciting show in store for y'all today. Like I said, NFC East preview. Injury concerns. That injuries seem to be mounting a little bit. We saw the scares from Joe Burrow. We saw the scares from Jalen Ramsey, who turned out to be a real scare that turned out to be a lot worse than initially was, because initially it looked like it was going to be a torn meniscus that would result in him out 6 weeks, or 6 to 8 weeks, and he could potentially just miss the first couple weeks of the season. But now it's prognosticating to where he's going to be out until at least December. So very unfortunate news for him and the Miami Dolphins. Seahawks with their running backs, with Kenneth Walker III, Zach Charbonnet. The list goes on, man. It's a little worrisome out there. It really is. So we want to get into all of that and more, in addition to the NFL's top 100. What's going on, Courtney Holland? It's good to see you. Never going to fucking happen. Not cutting this hair whatsoever.
Time out.
It's staying, damn it.
This
got a permanent residence.
This happened.
Put them ones up, baby.
This happened in the background. David, if you would be so kind, just turn your head, just turn your head to the side so we can. Yeah, we haven't seen how long his hair has actually gotten in a while. Nick, look at that.
Good Lord. Cut it, man.
Work of art, okay? This is like this,
work of laziness.
Listen. You know when Michelangelo created the Sistine Chapel?
Nope, that's not it.
This is my Sistine Chapel.
Nope,
and it's not going nowhere. Okay?
Nope.
Okay, hey, let's get a vote in the chat. Someone set up a poll. Should David cut his hair or should it stay? I think it's America's hair, so I think that's enough.
We know what side Courtney's on.
Courtney, how much are they paying you? Okay, just tell me. How much are they fucking paying you to say this?
I'm paying $0.
Jesus,
it's free real estate. Absolutely free.
Free real estate.
I love that. I love that. It's free real estate.
That's free real estate.
My brother says that to me
So
like
good.
every day. He just comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, David, it's free real estate." Just randomly walking by me. I don't know why he does that.
Rent free, baby. Rent
We're
free.
weird in the Gillespie household.
Clearly.
We're weird up here, up in the Pacific Northwest. But in addition to that, I want to talk the NFL's top 100. I know it's kind of random to talk about a fucking random ass rankings list, but this is decided by the players. And dear Jesus, I have one gigantic, enormous, ridiculously crazy gripe over one particular selection. Oh my God.
Is it someone in the top 10?
No, and they should be, but they're not. So
Interesting.
I'm just going to save for that. I'm going to save for that. You'll find out. I'm going to plead the fifth on who it is, I'm going to plead the fifth.
So you're not saying no, but
I'm going to plead the fifth because I don't want, you're going to narrow down who it is. You're going to narrow down who it is. That's why. Good to see you, Justin. Appreciate you hopping in the chat, buddy. Throw them ones up. There you go. Amen to that. Amen to that. Salute. Or salud if you are Hispanic, I do know that word, I know, what else do I know? Spanish. I don't, I took 4 years and it went out the other fucking ear, That's bad. Sorry, I want to apologize to our Hispanic community.
What a gringo.
Good Lord.
What a gringo.
I also found the actual translation for John Cena speaking Mandarin.
What is it? What does it say?
Do you want the phonetic Chinese and then the translation, or just the translation?
Just give me the translation. I don't want you to. I don't want to.
So the funny thing is, you say that for a while there, like in elementary school, I was learning Chinese alongside English back when I lived in Florida.
Oh, that's badass, dude. I mean, it's so hard. Like I can imagine learning a whole new alphabet.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
It is difficult because a lot of East Asian languages are like sonic.
Let me stroke out in peace, Nick. Jesus, I'm stroking out in peace. Okay.
Hey yo. Hey yo.
Another double entendre. You know what I meant? Is stroking out like like.
You just keep saying it.
But
time out. Have you actually seen someone having a stroke?
I almost was convinced one of my guys did.
I'll take that as a no.
One time. I did see a seizure.
See, the motions you were making, a little bit closer to a seizure than a stroke.
Yeah, I mean, stroking out. I mean, it's brain injury. It's same shit,
Oh boy.
Now I want to apologize to the medical committee too. For
insulting. Thank you. John Cena speaking Mandarin says when he says, "Good morning, China. Now I have ice cream. I like ice cream very much, but Fast and Furious 9 is better than ice cream."
Fast and Furious 9? I don't even fucking know, dude. I watched the first one and laughed my ass off at how fucking kooky this shit was.
The first one,
I have not seen any of them.
The first couple are pretty good. Tokyo
are
Drift
they really?
Fast. The Tokyo Drift is
I love the Tokyo Drift song.
It's so good. It's a banger. You can't deny that.
It's fucking hilarious, dude. That fucking
Tokyo Drift is really good.
So full disclosure. I was up late a couple nights ago, and I watched the first Fast and Furious.
Oh, you did? It took me a long time too. I didn't watch until like 2 years ago.
Whoa. No, I've watched
That's
it.
a different problem.
Hold on. I've watched it before. I'm just saying it was on Netflix.
Seen it.
Right. I'm like, you up there, David.
Don't hate the player. Hate the game. Okay.
What?
I'm just throwing out a random phrase, just seeing if it sticks. You know.
This is why this is awful. This is blasphemy.
I'm not even.
Get to the story.
You don't watch Mighty Ducks. You never watched the Fast and
Furious.
I
did watch it. You know what I did, and I lied to. I watched the animated one with Jim Belushi. Jim Belushi does some voice work for the animated movie that came out in like the late 90s. I saw that when I was 3. So. That kind of counts, you know.
No, it doesn't. Nope.
Don't hate. Listen, don't hate the player. Hate the game, man. Come on now. Come on now. Who else do we got in the chat? Fast and Furious Amazing Series. Is it really, Courtney? Maybe I need to check it out. I know they went up to fucking space recently, and I'm like, how is this plausible? And like a diving mask or something. I don't like. Is that what they're breathing? There's not even fucking astronaut equipment. They're like surviving up there. Like, yeah, we're in space.
I'll be honest. Like the series got a little bit dragged out longer than I thought it was going to be.
Understatement of the year, you know.
And then I feel like after Paul Walker left, and obviously passed, like
R.I.P.
It became a little bit. It kind of got a little bit more higher, but there was like. It just became really repetitive. After.
You mean like higher or like because shit kind of went crazy? You can't lie.
Yeah, it did. So that's
it
where
went a little buck wild. Yeah,
it did. So that's why I'm like, well, okay. And then there are a couple other guys that mixed into the series. Obviously, The Rock is in it. So I kind of Cena. So it's like it took an interesting approach there, but. So sometimes the storylines.
Don't be such a tosser.
There's definitely some that got.
Sorry. Sorry.
That was a good
one. It was a good one. But I'm saying, like in general, I feel like the series if we take the series as a whole, we're looking at it in hindsight now. It kind of lasted a little too long. But there's definitely some after after the first 4 or 5, like there's definitely some after that definitely killed it, and then there's some that were like, why? What's going on? Why?
No, it's fucking wild, dude.
Particularly,
it's fucking wild, dude. And last thing before we move on to the show, of course, because we do have an NFL show here. I've totally derailed with this Fast and Furious talk, but I read that they're pondering about seeing if we can get some Jurassic World teamwork going with the Fast and Furious. I'm dead serious. They're like, don't say never. Like, that's what the director said. I'm like, are you serious? combining dinosaurs. That's just insane, dude. That's fucking wild.
I'm gonna chase down the Velociraptor and a Charger.
Yeah. God damn.
I wonder what Big Buster's gonna.
We're going dinosaur hunting in our Chargers. Like, the fuck is this evolving into, man?
At that point, I would need the Dukes of Hazzard car, like,
Yeah. Yeah, that would be good. Them dinosaurs are at it again.
Come on, Mo.
You gotta wonder if some of these directors are doing.
If they're cracked out of their mind, yeah.
Trent Bulky cosplay.
Here's cosplay, yeah, absolutely, folks. But like I said, we got an NFL show in store for y'all today. It's going to be so kick-ass, so fucking kick-ass. But before we get into all that and more, got to give a shout out to our sponsors. Dubby, first off, if you guys want a healthy and delicious energy drink, head on over to w.gg. Use the promo code TBQ and to receive a 10% discount. The fuck was that? Oh my god! I might have to add that to my soundboard to randomly plug in here and there, as
Flip it.
Just to ask what the fuck that was, really. Just to ask the chat. I don't even think they can fucking gauge whatever the hell just happened right there. If you want a healthy and delicious energy drink, head on over to w.gg. Use that promo code TBQ to receive a 10% discount on your next purchase. Folks, they've got a delicious, healthy, sugar-free, jitter-free, calorie-free energy drink that is so awesome. It is so great. They've got a multitude of different flavors. They've got
I love you, Courtney.
it's packed full of vitamins. It's packed full of neurofactor. It's healthy stuff that'll help make you attentive throughout the day to get any task at hand.
It'll help
done.
you make good decisions, like going to our other sponsor and buying a new desk.
Yeah, there you go. Good segue. While I'm stroking out again.
We just don't need to know. We're okay not knowing that information. Just saying.
But I like to be transparent over here. I like to be more than just translucent, but I like to be more than Mr. Translucent, but Mr. Transparency.
You know what? I can appreciate that. Thank you.
Yo, what?
No problem.
Am I doing here?
Every week it's like that. Our other sponsor, though, folks, Mojo Desk. For an ergonomic, electric, eco-friendly desk, I was going to say something fucked up, like if you need a desk to stroke out at, no, I'm kidding. Now it's getting really wild.
Never mind.
Good Lord.
That is both adjustable and customizable. Head on over to mojodesk.com. Use that promo code TBQ for a 10% discount. They give it a wide array of different designs that are again adjustable to your height needs, to your design needs. They've got this 3D desk maker over there too. That's pretty dope, honestly. Really want you guys to check that out and see if this is your cup of tea. It's so fun. It's so fun, and that you can change all your different colors for the desk, and that you can add in an LED light hand control setting to it. It's so awesome. There's just so much to be had at mojodesk.com. If you want to get started today, in addition to our 10% discount that we're hooking you up with that promo code TBQ, we're also hooking you up with free shipping and handling. They're hooking you up with free shipping and handling, but I like to take credit on that too a little bit by presenting Mojo Desk to you too.
Good job. You're wonderful out there.
Very good job.
I'm trying to be their number one salesman by the end of the quarter.
What?
What's that? Do I what? Do what by hand? I don't know what you said in the private chat, but
I said, do you ship it by hand?
Oh, it's all hands on deck, baby. It's all hands on deck.
Oh no, I hope not.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So head on over and use that promo code TBQ for a 10% discount. You get hooked up right immediately. So without further ado, folks,
David's like the Andre from the league for us.
I don't know about that. Fuck no, I'm not that. No, I'm not Andre from the league. Hell fucking. I'm more like Taco from the league, I think, because I'm just like the most random shit comes out of my mind.
That's correct.
Craig? No, Craig's more like what?
I'm Pete.
Yeah. You're fucking nuts.
I'm definitely full of greatness. I'm Pete. You're Andre.
You're more Andre than Pete, if you ask me.
George. Kevin.
No, I'd probably Ruskin. Excuse me.
Mm,
Ruxy, right? Is his name Ruskin or Ruxy? I don't even fucking know his name, but with my goofy ass, no.
Definitely
And
not.
then I'm also very emotional about the most random shit like he is, So
Kevin, yeah, all right, it could be Kevin, I guess. It could be upgraded.
Kevin, no, but that dude lied about being in 9/11. I don't want to be attached to that, Yeah, he fucking did.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, Steve Ranazizi, the guy who plays him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lied about being in 9/11. It was pretty wild.
Yikes.
Pretty wild. So no, I love Steve Ranazizi. I'm just fucking with Steve Ranazizi. He's actually really funny and really great in the show. He's a really good stand-up comic too. So, but he done goofed big time with that one in real life. He done goofed big time. And he told the story over and over again. It was wild. It was absolutely insane. But like I said, without further ado, folks, let's get started with the show. Like I said, we're talking about NFC North today. The NFC East. Excuse me.
Again.
The NFC East.
Take two.
Previewing the NFC East, okay?
And cut.
There we go. On a live show, because that makes so much fucking sense.
Yep. No do-overs.
We'll fix it in post. Don't worry. We'll fix it in post.
Yeah, fuck it. We'll fix it in post,
Can't say that either.
O'Reilly, fucking thing sucks. Shout out to Bill O'Reilly, that piece of shit. How do the NFC East standings stack up this year? I want to hear what you guys have to say. Let's start with you, Nick. Who's your number 4?
Ooh. Well, in terms of the NFC East, right? Talk about the division in which it's like they say it's not your dad's NFC East, right?
Is that the race?
That was trash. That was bad.
It definitely was. But anyway, that being said, number 4, I got the Washington, you fill in the blank. Washington Commanders, Washington football team, Washington Red, you fill in the blank.
Washington, good life lessons.
Who knows? But I like Washington as a team. I think there's one of those teams in which they're pretty balanced. This team really is going to be in the hands of Sam Howell. And this will also be in the hands of Eric Bieniemy, who I have, and I'm going to continue to be hard on, because he overall should be the key to unlock the rest of this team. If Eric Bieniemy can really open the offense for Washington, I think there'll be a team that's going to be in the playoff hunt. They will be in general, but in order for them to really take a step forward, these two people I mentioned, Sam Howell and Eric Bieniemy, these guys, they have to be able to, get on the same accord. We already are hearing weird reports out of their camp about Eric Bieniemy being too hard on players. Like, listen, y'all are professional football players. We don't want to hear that it's too hard.
Get over it.
That only tells me that there's some players there that don't need to be there. If they're already complaining, it's not even they haven't even played a preseason game yet, and we're already talking about some of these Reds. I almost said it. I almost said it, but we're talking about these Washington players already complaining and stuff like that to basically, Daddy Ron Rivera. We can do too hard on us.
Yeah, I know. I thought that was. I mean, as long as no one's getting like there's no Urban Mussolini situation where someone's getting kicked in the back, then I think it's fine. Like no one's getting absolutely tortured, and it's not a death camp they're hosting over there. And I think it's okay. It's
fine. For a team that finished 8-8 last year, it's like, do I feel like they could do the same thing? Sure. But for a team, you bring in these guys, you're letting Howell play because you're wondering if he's going to be your franchise quarterback. You also bring in the Eric Bieniemy, who has a chip on his shoulder because of his, all his success with the Kansas City Chiefs and him wanting to be, a head coach one day, and took this job because in his mind, he felt that he could really bring this whole team to another level, him being the offensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. So we're going to see. We will find out. I'm skeptical on it because overall, I just think that Washington's kind of playing the season out. I think defensively, they're going to give people, a run for their money. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to this roster, what's missing? Well, I think what's missing in general is I think you got Logan Thomas playing tight end. He's up there in age. I think you definitely could have used I think this class in particular, from tight ends this past season, this past draft, was a great opportunity for you to grab his replacement pretty high. And I think they had a solid draft, but it wasn't like anything of substantial. I think every other team in the division just got a hair better when it came to draft, a hair better when it came to free agency, and ultimately when it comes to the Washington football team, the Commanders, overall, I just think they're destined to kind of finish around the same spot they did. Do I see them winning maybe 2 more games? It's ideal. Will it be a known fact and quantity? Who knows? I like Sam Howell. Will he be a franchise quarterback? The draft capital says not exactly. Do I believe in the talent of Sam Howell? I do. Do I believe this team can really win in the clutch when it matters most, this offense? As it currently stands, I don't. I like the receivers. I like McLaurin, like Dotson. I think they'll have a solid running game. Brian Robinson, from a guy that was coming off of being shot at last year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's not only a feel-good story. He's also a guy you could cheer for, and also a guy that can be like a.
I don't know if we needed the sound effect of the gunfire from Brian Robinson. Jesus
you don't want the ad lib? You don't
God!
Want rap ad libs?
It might have been a little dark there, poor Ryan Robinson.
Nick must not have heard me going boo boo.
No, I heard that, but I ignored it.
Yeah. It's a good choice, Nick.
Bang bang.
But
oh God.
But I think this team is a solid one, and in the NFC, ultimately, like there's some teams you're looking at that's definitely on the verge of being a playoff team. But ultimately, I just think because of this division being so stacked, when it comes to just these teams are going to try to eat each other alive, I think Washington ends up being a casualty amongst all those other like teams that ultimately like just see themselves on the verge of the playoffs, but ultimately don't make it.
No, I absolutely, man. I totally know what you mean. It's going to be tight in this division, and the Commanders, like they're a very dicey team this year. I get the suspicion. If I can just let me.
George, what are you doing?
I have to get a better look.
Hang on.
I don't want.
There we go. There we go. That's what we need to see right there.
Not fanatic.
Yes.
Oh,
absolutely. The Philly fanatic.
I do not need the Philly fanatic.
They call this guy. He's a very iconic Eagles fan. And they call him the Dunph. Okay, his name's Rob Dunphy, and they call him the Dunph. If that's not an aggressive name, I don't know what is, man.
I was gonna say more like a peaked in high school name, but
And this dude, and I just love the look on the Packers fan right next door, right next to him, who's just like, keep your fucking whatever black hole you have down there away from me. He's just like he wants none of this shit right now. Because that. Nice. Because look at that belly button. That's a cavernous fucking belly button this guy has, with that. Which I'm almost convinced that like a lot of the Eagles fans, that especially the the disrespectful ones, they must pop out of. Like that's where they live. That's their fucking habitat right there.
They're not Oscar the Grouch. Like they don't just live in trash bins.
Can you prove that? Can you prove that? Okay. Do you have scientific evidence?
I don't know. I've never taken Oscar and shaved him, but I'm going to go on a limb and say that he's never been that, stature.
You never know. They are like a Eagles fans. They're not human. They're not fucking human, man. I'm just going to say that. Okay?
Wow.
Except Nightings. Nightings is great, and I'm wondering if that was him in the chat just now. I hope he didn't hear that. Because I do love a lot of Eagles fans, but this guy seems actually like a really nice guy, though. He does
they're a different breed. His
belly button.
I don't have it this week.
His belly button is a little intimidating, but you know what?
Just don't look at it in the eye, and you'll be fine.
Don't look. Yeah, exactly. That's like the eye of Sauron down there, man. Jesus Christ. It's intimidating.
It's like when they opened up the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah.
Wow.
Seriously, there's some mystical shit going on down there, Let's go to you, George. Who's your number 4?
I also have Washington at number 4 in this division. I'm also a I love their skill position groups other than tight end, but there is a question mark at quarterback. I think Sam Howell definitely has the arm for it. We're going to see how he picks up a new offense in just his second year, I think it is, this upcoming season. He also looked a little bit old in college. That's kind of why,
in a different lifetime, it probably actually, no, this probably was.
Don't even, come on now.
5 years ago, this isn't far off, okay? Because I was like a hefty.
Boy David.
Yeah, your boy was big boned,
Oh yeah, buddy.
Boy,
Okay, that's what we're leaning with that. All right.
Sorry, continue on with your number 4, Washington Commanders, George.
I love this defense. I mean, front to back, this defense should be awesome. I mean, I mostly say special teams because I love Tress Way, and if you guys follow anything NFL related on social media, for whatever reason, it seems like he's the guy that Washington is just like picked out as like, you're gonna be the guy. We're just gonna follow you around with the cameras for social media stuff, and he's just kind of goofy. But Sam Howell to me is like one of the biggest question marks on this team. Even the offensive line is pretty solid. It's just this team for me has a lot of solid, not enough star power or not enough like just over the top ability that's going to push this team to that next level just yet. Now, could Sam Howell prove us wrong on that? Absolutely. I think he's 100% got the arm talent. It's going to be for him probably between the ears and picking up on what should probably be a bit of a complicated offensive system that Bieniemy is going to try and bring over from Kansas City. I like Brian Robinson. I actually like all three of their first 3 running backs. I love Robinson. Antonio Gibson is still a good receiving talent, and Chris Rodriguez is just a bowling ball. If you watch him at Kentucky, can just move these guys around.
Yeah.
Logan Thomas, their tight end group definitely leaves a lot to be desired there, especially with Logan Thomas and his injury issues over the last couple seasons, which is a shame. But it's the reality of the situation there. That's really all I've got. I mean, I think this defense is going to be good. I think Del Rio is going to have them playing to a pretty high level. They might have they probably to me have the second best defense in the division. It's just their like overall offense.
Really, you're that high on them? Okay.
On their defense, it's their offense that leaves like a lot, and because with their offense, like I love Brian Robinson. I think he's going to be really, really good this year. But is he a Saquon Barkley? Like, is he a type of running back that can really truly elevate the rest of the offense like a Saquon can? I don't think so.
I think it could get interesting this year with him. I'm just going to save it for that. I don't think he's the athlete that Saquon is. Let's get that out of the way. Obviously not. Otherwise Brian Robinson Jr. would have been drafted in the first round. He would have been a top 10 pick probably, because Saquon was that highly touted. Although then again, with the way the dynamic has shifted in how we treat running backs in the NFL, who fucking knows whether they're going to be drafted again in the first round, the top 10 pick, let alone a top 10 pick for
unless they're a Bijan type.
Yeah, unless you're a Bijan type, and exactly like that's like you've really got to be special now. Probably. I mean, yes. I don't know. It's just like it's getting weird. But on a side note, I would have loved to have seen a social experiment where Nick was the PR director of the Washington, then known as the
Washington franchise.
Yeah, the Washington franchise.
That was based on a racial slur.
And have to address the media and constantly refer to the names, like, refer to the name being like, we, the people of the Washington, are trying to win some Super Bowls for the franchise of the, So I was talking to owner of the, the other day.
Dan Snyder, that absolute piece of human trash.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Well, if you're a PR director, I don't know if you can say that and keep your job, 10 seconds after, that's the thing. You always got to, speak highly of the organization that you work for. But you know what?
I think Nick's better than that. I think he would speak from the heart.
He'd grill their ass.
I'm gonna tell like it is.
He's gonna grill their ass. Grill their ass. Sure. My number 4. Believe it or not, I'm always bringing that. I'm 0 to 100 real quick, Because now I'm speaking in a calm,
Hey, yo.
A calm, tranquil tone, Now I'm speaking.
I don't know what I just knocked over.
Like, you don't know what to expect. It's like, surprise, motherfuckers. My number 4, though, is actually the New York Giants. I think this is a team I'm not high on this year. I think they could potentially go 9-8 again this upcoming season. I'm very concerned about this Daniel Jones deal. They signed him to that lucrative extension where he's making north of $30 million a year. That's fucking wild to me. That's wild to me. This guy does not. I'm sorry, $40 million to be specific. I don't get it. I really don't fucking get it. I'm sorry. I don't think this is a guy that takes over games. I think this is a guy that is here to kind of patch holes in the offense, to clear any of the side shit up while the ground game gets things going. While it's Saquon's offense that he gets to run. Honestly, this is a guy who's incredibly turnover prone. We're talking about 57 turnovers in 54 games played throughout his career. I do think it can get interesting with the skills players, maybe with Isaiah Hodgins. It could get interesting this year. I love me some Darren Waller. So I think he'll actually be a safety blanket for Daniel Jones. That'll be a good connection, a legitimate connection between those two. But is that it in the passing game to hold up? Like Isaiah Hodgins, who's an unproven player, Darren Waller, who's a great tight end. He's an elite tight end when he's healthy. But key phrase, if he's healthy. And he's not always healthy. He certainly hasn't been over the last couple of years. Is that enough to hold up the offense in the passing game? And you got Saquon in the backfield, who's a great back. We all know and love Saquon, but he, for one thing, he's injury prone, and you don't have a supplementary identity outside of him. So when he goes down, what's the next guy like? What's the next guy going to do that's in line? There's just a lot of questions with this, honestly, and they still have that mediocre offensive line. That yes, you have Andrew Thomas, who's a bona fide stud, a bookend left tackle. I just don't love it. I don't love it. I think Saquon will feast within this offense. I think he will do a lot, but I think with how competitive this division is, it's not a recipe for getting back into the playoffs again like they did last year. I just don't think last year's last year's formula is going to yield success if they continue on with it. It's
you don't
too
think
dicey,
Dable's going to be cooking some more?
Not with Daniel Jones. I love Dable, but not with Daniel Jones. I don't like. Go look at he was 30th in deep ball attempts last year. They were uncomfortable with him throwing the ball downfield because he's not that guy. And I'm not saying he can't throw the deep ball because he actually had good. Exactly, you're not that guy, pal. He was 30th, but he was very accurate in deep ball accuracy. But because it's not in spades. It's sporadically spread out. It's in doses, in small doses that you get to experience him having success within the deep ball game. I don't think he's that kind of guy. I think that it's gone to show itself thus far. A lot of their identity is in the run game. That's their bread and butter, honestly. So I and I'm not trying to say his game is like leeching off the ground game, but it is piggybacking off of it nonetheless. I would say that's really their strategy, offensively. It's not good enough. And they didn't do, and they didn't get Jalen Hyatt this offseason. I love Jalen Hyatt, but I think he's probably not going to be swinging right out of the gates. It's going to take him some time to develop into the stud that I think he has the capability of being, Defensively, though, I like their defense, okay? They got Bobby Okereke in the offseason. Great run stopper, really good coming out of the Indianapolis Colts. Somewhat high on their pass rush with Kayvon Thibodeau and Azeez Ojulari, even though Azeez Ojulari didn't exactly turn it up a notch last year. Of course, he had, didn't play the whole season, so there was that to take into account. Right, I think he had missed some time last year. Remember? Yeah, he played 7 games, but even in the 7 games, it wasn't like he was going off. We'll see how that goes. But I like Kayvon Thibodeau. I like Dexter Lawrence. We all know Sexy Dexy. I tried to pay homage.
One of us knows him a little bit more than the others.
I tried to pay homage with the Gravy Davy. It did not go down well, as you can see with that one kid who had a lot of protests. Okay, George leaves right immediately. I'm sorry, George. I own up to the truth. Okay, I don't run away from it. All right.
A lot of people were scarred that day.
You know.
Yep. A lot of people were scarred that day.
That's D-Day 2.0. No, that's messed up. D-Day 2.0. David Day. That's fucked up. That's fucked up. I'm sorry. I went too far. Well, I don't know, Brian. You made a pew pew. noise when we're talking about Brian Robinson's shooting. So I don't know what's the line now. Okay, that was dark in my eyes, but damn. The defense though, I love this. I am kind of naughty, yeah. It sounds weird to say out loud at the same time for me to say that. There goes George again, dipping out. I don't run away from it, George. Embrace it. But I love what they do defensively. They did lose Julian Love though, this offseason to the Seattle Seahawks, which I think is going to hurt, honestly, losing Julian Love. Like, he was having a spectacular season. Xavier McKinney is good, but he had an off year last year. He did not look good last year. He was not good in coverage. He was not the versatile safety he has capable of being. Dory Jackson is decent, but
did he also get hurt playing on like a 4x4 or something?
You talking about Xavier McKinney?
Yeah,
he did. Yeah, he did. You know, but even when he was playing, he was not yielding a good grade, overall in terms of what he was able to do in coverage. You know, like last year through 9 games, it could get a little bit messy. You know, it could get a little bit messy for him. You know, so I just think that they have some things they need to work on. You know, and this is a defense that runs heavy man coverage. You know, heavy blitzing, courtesy, of course, of Wink Martindale, who's an absolute monster of a defensive coordinator. So I think this is where they're going to get some things going, but there's still some question marks in the interior linebacking game for one thing too. So I don't think it's not going to be a perfect situation defensively on top of that. So when you've got a mess in the passing game, in the offensive line, in the interior linebacking core, in a very competitive division, I don't know if that's enough to say the Giants are going to make the playoffs this year. I've got them out of it. You know, I got them 9-8, missing it. They'll be good. They'll be competitive. But it's going to be a repeat best case scenario, I think, this upcoming season. Who we got for number 3, Nick?
This is where we get a little tricky. Number 3 was the Giants, but it's not for the reasons that you're saying. Okay. Some of it has to do with it. Like Daniel Jones, was he deserving of the contract extension? In a sense, yes. But ultimately, like, where do we stand with him overall as some of the better QBs in the league, right? Mm-hmm. Like, we don't always feel the most confident in Daniel
Bottom
Jones.
Bottom half.
Right. So it's like, I mean, in an era, all QBs are getting paid. So it is what it is. But ultimately, it's – I guess with a guy like Daniel Jones, why there's a lot of misconception with him is because there's going to be times where you're looking at him as a solid quarterback, that he can do a lot of these different things on the field. And then there's other times you're like, what is this guy doing? Yeah. Like, why did he make that throw? Or why did he run there instead of making the pass downfield? You know, he's just one of those quarterbacks. Like, he's literally this generation's Eli Manning right now. Like, it's really ironic. Like,
without the arm.
That's
what I'm saying. Don't cut me off. I'm saying that I wasn't
without the arm. Eli's arm was
right. I was saying the mechanics of his arm isn't
not a Hall of Famer though.
But I'm not saying he's a Hall of Famer, but it's more like I'm saying in terms of how we think of Daniel Jones, what I'm saying. Because at times we've looked at Eli Manning in the past of this guy's just throwing interceptions everywhere and he can't win that, and all of a sudden when the playoffs goes on, he's a Hall of Famer. He's this, he's that. Oh my gosh, he beat the Patriots. This. Like right. So that's what I'm talking about with the misconception, the idea of Daniel Jones as a quarterback in this league. Because again, the opinion of him goes up and down constantly. It's very volatile. Some people think he's decent. When he's not, he look like crap. So this is where people get a lot of frustration with Daniel Jones with. I honestly think the Giants are a playoff team again. What they need to prove more of is Daniel Jones taking that leap. I really believe that Brian Daboll is a great head coach. He took, they say, turn chicken shit, make a chicken salad, and that's what he said did last year. Like,
never heard of that, but okay,
whatever.
I see what you're saying.
However the saying goes, I don't care.
No, that makes sense. It makes sense.
Anyway, that being said, he overall is a guy that, from a head coach perspective, I think we like. I think he could take certain talent and rise it above it. So, the situation with the Giants in general, we love their defense, obviously. Yeah. This defense in general, and I think we can say that about every single team in this division.
Great defensive division, you know?
So again, with the Washington situation, it's like, did they do enough to really, bring, did they do enough to bolster ahead offensively? Again, we'll find out. This hinges on Daniel Jones taking the next level because he got the money, he got the contract. This also hinges on Hodgins, I feel, as well. I think Hodgins is a receiver that we're looking at as a receiver that he's not going to blow you away with his athleticism, but he is going to be a reliable receiver. We talk about Jalen Hyatt. We talk about, of course, Darren Waller. He's not going to be the focal point, of course, as long as he's healthy. I think we also need to talk about Darius Slayton. He somehow is still on this team after all the talk last year.
Yeah.
This guy potentially getting traded, and we don't want him, and this, that, the third. You heard that all last year. And yet he's still on this team.
The funny thing is, like,
doing something right.
The funny thing is about last season is, like, looking at it, even with all the talk about, like, oh, this guy, there's no way he stays on the team. There's no way he does this or that. There's no way they keep him. He didn't have a terrible season. He actually was pretty solid, like relatively reliable. I mean, caught for over 700 yards and almost 16 a touch. I mean, he was exactly what we thought Slayton would be. And like, that's not that bad. That's actually pretty good.
It's reliable numbers.
Yeah. The thing about the Giants receiving core, it's not that they have bad receivers. It's that none of these guys, when they get hurt for one thing, but they also are just not number ones, you know? And they're not great number twos, you know?
That's where it comes guys.
But you throw in, like, you say this, though. You throw in, like, a Darius Slayton to be, like, a slot guy within the Eagles or within, that
would be
the Bills or something. Oh, my God.
Yeah,
That'd be awesome, you know? Crazy. But you put him as your number one out there, like, fucking shit, dude. Yeah. Fucking duct taping this goddamn receiving core, you know, right now. It's
Yeah,
it's bad.
And that's the Giants sign all these slot receivers. Like, you bring in even, good Lord, Jamison Crowder and Cole Beasley. Like, we all know what that's all about. Debo has history, guys. Just like he had history with Hodgins. Look what happened to Hodgins when he got more.
Let's do a lot of coaches too, you know.
So again, I believe in the coaching here with Brian Daboll, and I think he can mask certain things with this Giants team in general. Again, we know the defense is going to be solid. It's just obviously, can he really get Daniel Jones to that next level? I believe that he'll get him to a level in which that's appropriate for an NFL QB. I think it becomes the question of, can Daniel Jones, like, he could get to a level in which he's serviceable and he's solid, which he kind of was last year. And in certain flashes, you saw him really elevate his passing game. But can he get him to another level? Yeah. Really push through that ceiling. And that will be the question for obviously for the Giants front office, because they gave him Daniel Jones the money. Yeah. But it'll also be on Brian Daboll as well. So I'm going to believe more into because it's kind of like similar to the Steelers situation where you're banking more on somewhat the coaching here to elevate talent than you are necessarily the elite talent around a whole team. And again, these situations happen because, look, like, you're not going to always have the most best talent in the league, but it will be at times how you X and O certain things. And I think Brian Daboll has that. So that's why I have the Giants 3. I think they ultimately can be another playoff team again. Further, probably not. We'll have to see some injuries and stuff like that happen throughout the league in order for that to kind of come into fruition. And like I said, if Daniel Jones, if he breaks through that ceiling that he's been at, where he comes from just like this somewhat average thrower and decent running of the football to, being a more prolific passer, this Giants team will be definitely decent. I do like the receiving core, like Wendell Robinson. He tore his ACL last year, but he's still a guy that second half of the year we are hearing about again. So I mean, this Giants team in general it's fine. We'll just see how much they'll level up with the coaching.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And I have high hopes for Wendell Robinson and Isaiah Hodgins. I don't know if it's going to mesh well with Daniel Jones, and not to deliver a pun, but speaking of meshing, stuff like, passing concepts like that and crossers, that's really a lot of what the Giants run. They don't run a lot of deep passing concepts within their game compared to certain other teams because they just don't trust Daniel Jones. And I was going to say something to Nick about Eli Manning because I felt like, I mean, because Eli had those 2 great playoff runs. He didn't have anything else outside of that within the playoffs where he went on a crazy go. He didn't win any other playoff games outside of that, outside of those 2 runs. But he was more than that, more than just being like a playoff quarterback, more than just being what Jim Plunkett was for the Raiders, 40 years ago. This guy was a top 10 passer in NFL history in numerous categories. He accomplished a lot in the regular season. Now, if you say that it wasn't good enough to go to the Hall of Fame, that's fair enough if you disagree with that. I personally think it was good enough when you're top 10 in those passing categories. And he was an underrated, and speaking of the drastic difference between him and Daniel Jones, underrated deep ball thrower. Eli Manning had a fucking hose.
Eli Manning had an absolute howitzer. That's
why he was first overall drafted.
I was about to say, if you really want go watch some of his tape at Ole Miss.
Yeah,
he was
sensational.
Just absolutely just throwing that thing all over the park. Yes, Courtney. He did just disappear for a little bit. No, wait, Nick, did you leave and not get ice cream?
Yeah, I left not get ice. I told you I don't have it this week.
Oh my!
Oh! I thought you meant you just didn't have it with you.
Nope.
That's on me. Misunderstanding. My bad.
One of my t-shirts. Let me know how you think. So this is corny. I think this is just goofy. So this is how fucking childish and adolescent I am. One of my merch store shirts I want to get designed. I'm gonna have to outreach to 5 or something like that because I don't know how the fuck to make this. But I want to get a shirt where you're dressed up like Tony Montana, and there's just a mound of ice cream. Or ice cream sandwiches, and it's going to be something along the lines of that, and it's going to be to showcase how much you love ice cream. I was going to do that for you, because you're a full blown addict. You're just.
Let's pump the brakes there.
I mean, he doesn't have it this week, and he's not sitting here tweaking. So,
hey, TBQ behind the scenes, man. Some wild
TBQ after dark.
There's some wild stuff.
There's wild shit going on during the scenes. Yeah. In front of the scenes. Yeah. Or however the phrase goes. No, absolutely. But I do think you're a little bit, but let's understand. I was telling George this, or we're talking about Eli Manning.
Mm-hmm.
He was more than just a playoff quarterback, and not to mention those 2 Super Bowl runs.
Oh, he was, huh?
Absolutely. Because for one thing, he's not even just a playoff quarterback because he didn't win any other playoff game outside of those 2 playoff runs that he won those 2 Super Bowls in. Okay.
I know.
He's more than that. He was top 10 in numerous passing categories of all time in NFL history. Now, are we in a more pass happy league? Yes, but I didn't see Jay Cutler or Carson Palmer being in the top 10. There's a certain level. This guy was good. He was a multi-time Pro Bowler. He was a 4-time Pro Bowler. Probably should have been a 6-time Pro Bowler. And I think combining that with the playoff success, it absolutely makes him a bona fide Hall of Famer. I think he was more to that. He was an underrated. And you talk about Daniel Jones in the comparison with him.
But here's the thing.
Eli was a great deep ball thrower. He was a great deep ball thrower.
I'm not saying none of that. I'm not putting them in the same category per se. I think you're missing what I'm saying. But I'm saying when it comes to public perception, I think these same things and characteristics are being talked about Daniel Jones. I'm not saying that Eli Manning was a lesser talent or anything of that nature. I'm just saying it's ironic how this is another Giants QB that we're talking about and some of these same things that we're talking about. I'm not a proven winner, this, that, and the third, whatever. And obviously until Eli showed it, of course, it was still that. I'm just saying in general from public perception. I'm not talking about from a statistical standpoint. I'm not talking about from a mechanical standpoint as QBs. I'm talking about in particular how we're talking about a Giants QB situation. It's just ironic that we're talking about this again another 10 years later about another quarterback in the Giants uniforms.
I get what you're saying. I was just thrown off a little bit when you referred to Eli as just a playoff quarterback. So that's why I was like, let's put it a little bit.
It's more of we know Eli Manning is possible Hall of Famer because of what he did. I'm not saying that he's not. It was more of just again I'm just talking about how public perception kind of goes when it comes to certain QBs and we're talking about certain things because again, people weren't talking about Eli in this manner that we're talking about him now, right? We weren't saying Eli Manning was this, that, or third. We weren't saying that. We're saying, Eli Manning messed up another game. Oh,
you're right. You're 100% right about that.
He's just Archie Manning's son. That's all he is. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, these are some of the things 10 years ago we talked about Eli Manning, like just being this average quarterback, this. He can't get it done, whatever. Look what he does when they're not the last seed of the playoffs. They won 2 Super Bowls as 6 seeds in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, in general, I'm just talking about the nuance of how we talk about it as people. Is just fascinating. That's all.
I got you. No, I 100% got you. I just I was just maybe I'm being a little nitpicky, so my apologies.
Just a little bit. Down boy.
The disrespect to the prophet that I am, and it's
peasant. You already mean?
Don't you fucking noble. Give me a noble at least, okay? I'm a noble. You don't have to call me a king, but I'm a noble at least, okay? George, let's go to your number 3 right now, George.
You're a knight, sure. You're a knight, and I'm a king.
That's not good enough. George, what have you got for number 3?
I don't fit in this. I'm wearing a Shanghai jersey. I'm in China.
Oh my God.
He's
gonna fucking speak Mandarin for his answer. All right, let's go to your number 2 now, Nick. Okay.
I did send the Bing chilling thing in the private chat. Like
I know, I just saw Bing chilling posted 3 times in the midst of like some Chinese writing. And I was like, okay, it's your number 3, damn
it. I also have the Giants at number 3. For me, the biggest difference between the Giants and the Washington club, the Washington team, the team that plays football in our nation's capital, is mainly I also just saw what's in chat. It is mainly the players that have the kind of game break ability, the ability to really take over a game on their own. Whereas I think the Washington Commanders right now have a lot more of just solid players. There are a handful of players on the Giants team that, like, in one play can break open a game on their own, really. Where you've got, Darren Waller can do it. Jalen Hyatt can do it. Saquon can do it. Defensively, I love the combo of Ojulari and Thibodeau. Ashawn Robinson's also solid in there. Sexy Dexy on his own can do it from the interior. They're both very solid teams, top to bottom. I just feel like the Giants have more of those players that can kind of flip that switch on a game. Whereas with Washington, they don't necessarily have that as much.
Okay. I feel you. All right.
That, and I think Daboll right now is probably a better coach. I think.
What do you see? So do you see them as a playoff team finishing 3rd?
That's kind of where I find it a little bit more difficult to place because there are a lot of other NFC teams that I think are better than they were last year and therefore are more likely. Like, I think Detroit probably makes the playoffs. I like Detroit a lot this year. We know if they don't win the division, they're going to have to fight it out with the other teams. I think most of the not most of Seattle, I think, has a chance at making it. No one else from the South, really. Oof.
Yeah, that's a courtesy that someone gets a playoff spot.
At least one. Yeah. So that's the thing. Like, they're realistically fighting with, the other 2 teams in this division. Well, for a playoff spot, because I think at least 3 from the NFC East make it. That wouldn't shock me at all. The top 2 probably gonna have really good records. Vikings and Lions, I think you could flip a coin between those 2, if not both. NFC South, you just get one. I'm sorry. And then Niners and Seahawks. All of those I could see in contention for that slot.
Okay, all right. I feel you on that. Just so disrespectful, Courtney. Just so disrespectful. Poor Jester. It's so mean. My number 3 team is the Washington Commanders. I could see them going 11-6 or maybe 12-5 this year. Okay.
11-6.
I'm dead serious.
Tell the people why.
I will tell you people. I will tell you people why. Okay. Listen, Sam Howell. There's a lot hinged upon Sam Howell, so I will acknowledge that. And there's a lot hinged upon Brian Robinson Jr. Furthermore, too, because
Washington team's gonna make the playoffs.
I do believe yes, 100%. I'm saying it. I loved the acquisition of getting Eric Bieniemy to be their offensive coordinator. I think he's going to do some. Okay, 3 Super Bowl appearances in the last fucking 5 years.
He wasn't head coach.
4 years. Yeah, but he had
whatever.
Yeah, I know, but he's been there since the get-go. Coincidentally, when he joined in 2018, that was the first year that Patrick Mahomes started getting good, okay? Because his first game, when he played in the tail end of the season in 2017, when he played for an injured Alex Smith at the time.
David?
He was not light.
David, calm down. Just talk
No,
about
that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about Eric Bieniemy. I'm saying
he's just poking fun.
He's just.
That's why I like in the middle there. You talking to
like I said, he's my fucking big brother over here. God damn it! And I just oh my god. And
I wonder.
And he's older than me too, so it makes sense. It's like
Mm-hmm.
something fucking happened, something like it's. Oh my god, just unrelenting. I think, but Patrick Mahomes wasn't great right out of the gate. He wasn't great right out of the gate. He got great in 2018, coincidentally, when Eric Bieniemy became the offensive coordinator there. It wasn't fucking Matt Nagy. Jesus Christ.
Ooh.
I'm a little bit concerned,
He's
though.
a Super Bowl champ now.
No,
By association, okay.
you can't do
Well,
it.
he was offensive coordinator.
Dude, he's the Robert Kardashian of the dream. He's the Robert Kardashian of the dream team, but instead for the Kansas City Chiefs. He was just there by fucking associate. He didn't do shit to
So what do we say about Eric Bieniemy now? Go ahead.
I was gonna be mean. I don't want to say Christian Leitner. That's kind of mean if I said him.
Oh,
the actual dream team.
come on, man.
That'd be mean. Because he was a good player, but I mean, we're talking about Michael Jordan, Clyde Drexler, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. Insane. I am concerned though about Sam Howell. I think will do. I saw some good things out of his tape against Dallas. I saw some good things out of that when I watched it. I really did.
Courtney's flaming you in the chat, by the way.
I mean, I don't know about flaming, but no, I'm not listening to Selena Gomez.
Definitely flaming.
Well, that was good. That was actually pretty
Gomez
good.
songs?
I'm not fucking listening to Selena Gomez. I'll hard pass on that shit.
Flaming you. George, take that eye off.
Hang on, let me get through this real quick though. I am a little bit concerned about the linebacking core though, with Jamin Davis maybe needing to take a next level leap. I am concerned about that. Okay, Cody Barton, those guys being more than just kind of average, which they were last year. They were good, but I want to see them. I want to see them reach greater heights. I want to see them bring the defense that George is kind of touting this defense's capability of being. I want to see that more so. I love the defensive line. When they're healthy, they've got maybe the best defensive line in all of football with Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, Chase Young, Montez Sweat. It's filthy. It's absolutely spectacular. But they've got health concerns for one thing, So I get that. And that's why I have them at the back end of this division. But I believe Eric Bieniemy is going to create some great things out of Sam Howell. He was careful with the football. He had some low-key, not too shabby deep ball accuracy in that Cowboys game, okay? And I'm not saying, and that's a good secondary he's playing up against with Trayvon Diggs, and you had Deron Bland too. Malik Hooker. There were some good things. Donovan Wilson. There were some good things to note about his tape against there. But I believe there's a lot of unanswered questions, but they will get answered this season. At least the receiving core and the defensive line, I think they're fairly answered with Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson, and of course what I said about the defensive line being so great. Those are for sure answered questions. But other things with the quarterback, I think that will get answered this year. Brian Robinson Jr., who is an incredibly versatile athlete that can run between the tackles, that can catch passes out of the backfield, run outside the tackles, can block. He can do everything. He can do everything. That will showcase itself. And I think he would have actually, and furthermore, had a better season last year had it not been for a shithole offensive line performance that didn't really exactly do him justice and paving the way for him, So I want to see that. The question marks with Cody Barton and who had 136 tackles last year. He's going to be a lot more diligent in stopping the run. In fact, he was top 16 already in defensive stops in the run game. So in run play situations. I believe that will answer itself, honestly, I think for Sam Howell, though, in particular, to get good, he's got to focus in particular on not rushing the ball out too quick, improving his touch, and throwing under pressure. And it sounds like a lot, but I think there's just some fine tuning that is needed. I don't think it's necessarily a matter of doing a complete overhaul of his game. I really don't think so. Well, you're giving me a weird look. Why are you giving me a weird look?
Who?
Nick.
What?
Or are you looking up at the chat? I thought you were looking at me with that weird look, like I was tripping.
No. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. No, I thought you were doing that. Okay. But I loved this tape against the Cowboys stuff, you know? I really did. I think this is going to evolve into something more special. I will say that, though, they do have a very difficult schedule, okay, to close out the season. They're at Dallas versus Miami, at Rams, at Jets versus the 49ers, and then versus Dallas to close things out. That's not going to be easy, but I think they can get things that can put the pieces together to make it happen. I think I'm freezing up right now. Am I freezing up? Okay.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, you
guys see me now?
You froze, you went slow, then you went real fast.
Yeah, it was weird. You look really delayed.
My internet's
you're fine now.
Comcast.
For a moment.
But I a lot of unanswered questions that will get answered this season is what I'm getting at. Okay. And even with that tough schedule, like I said, with, you know, to close out the season, go look at the last 6 games of the season. Very difficult. Okay. I think they will get enough wins to hold themselves down, honestly, and get themselves in the playoffs. I think they're good enough. There's a lot to love about it. Ron Rivera, too, with his back up against the wall, never count out Riverboat Ron. Never count out Riverboat Ron. And his back is up against the wall right now with new ownership, and the Commanders having been disappointed since having not made the playoffs going back to the 2020 season. There's a lot of pressure on him. He's going to get it done. He's going to rise to the occasion and get this team in a position where it needs to be. I believe it, okay? It may not be the prettiest season to where they're going to get 12, 13 wins, but he will get it done. I fully believe so, okay? Let's get to our number 2. Who have you got, Nick?
Cowgirls, number 2.
Yeah.
I really like what they did in the offseason, though. I'll tell you that much. I don't like their draft, really. Really left a lot of questions for the NFL draft. But I like what they did anytime you bring in guys like Brandon Cooks, anytime you bring in a guy like Stephon Gilmore, you're bolstering your team in general. Anytime you're going to grab Michael Gallup, is going to be more healthier this upcoming season. I think some of the problems that Dallas just has in general, and we talked about this before, but it's with Dak Prescott. And it's when the game's on the line. Like, it's just more like, hey, like, can you show up in these bigger games? That's the problem I have with the Cowboys, Cowgirls overall. It's just you always look at this team, you're like, you know, this team could definitely be, you know, a potential Super Bowl contender. It's just always something holding this team back, always. You know, there's no more Zeke Elliott, so it's not going to be all Tony Pollard in that backfield for the most part, like Lee Davis and all these, you know, guys in the backfield. You have, again, you brought in Brandon Cooks, who I think is a really nice addition. I think Brandon Cooks last year wasn't motivated to play. He will be this year. And I think that's a somewhat scary thing. I think they're talking about running the ball more. We'll see. I just think that Dallas can be Dallas. I think at some point Dak Prescott's just going to take the reins and just chuck the ball around the yard. And just Dallas is still going to end up being one of these, you know, topper offenses in the league. This is what it is. I think Mike McCarthy's going to change up some things, but it's not going to be like a drastic change. Like, you're not going to see him run the ball like 40 times a game. Like,
I was curious about who they hired as an offensive coordinator.
Oh yeah,
and
Schottenheimer.
Prescott might get every opportunity to do cook. They might just let him cook.
I like the hire with Brian Schottenheimer.
Why?
Because he did great things with Russell Wilson with the Seahawks.
I know, but still.
I think he could do the same thing with that.
Brian Schottenheimer. Like, I feel differently.
That's not a bad name.
I just think at some point, I think Dak Prescott, like I said, is going to be able to. I just think they're going to start doing this stuff the first 4 or 5 games of the season. And then when they find out it's not as fruitful, they're going to start reverting back to some of the Dallas chucking the ball 50 times a game type of mentality. It's just going to happen.
What's your win projection for the Cowboys this year?
We will see. Because I think with Dallas in particular, like, I think they have, again, another team that we're talking about as a solid defensive unit. Like, in general, like Michael Parsons, obviously back there, a monster. And just in general with this team, like, you're.
Oh, come on, Courtney. I don't want to foreshadow anything.
I don't want to do that either. That's awful.
Yeah, that's me.
But this team, secondary-wise, especially where you have to be solid, like I said, getting a guy like Gilmore, you got a guy back there like Diggs. Like, in general, this Cowgirls team really did well defensively, so I cannot knock the recent missed successes of this team on the defense. At the end of the day, when it comes down to it, Dallas can win 12 games. They did last year. They can win 10 games, barely make the playoffs. This team is going to ride or die with Dak Prescott playing better in clutch games. We've said it before. The Cowgirls haven't been to a conference championship game. Mm-hmm. They haven't been to a conference championship game. An NFC conference championship game. They have not been there since 1996.
I was not born.
Yeah, in the playoffs of the 95 season, Mm-hmm. Or no, I'm sorry. It was the 96 season. That's right. Yeah.
So, it was.
I wasn't even alive.
Right? Wasn't it?
But either way.
No, it was 95. I was right. Actually, I was right. Sorry, go ahead.
Doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. All right?
It was either 2 or 3 years before I was born. So it doesn't
relax, buddy. Go ahead.
95, 96, same thing. They ain't been there since.
Yeah, for you old.
They ain't been in there in George's lifetime. That's all that matters.
They have not.
Anyhow, like we were saying, these Cowgirls in particular, again, this team is, let's be honest, this Cowgirls organization hasn't been any, like Courtney said, haven't been anything since Troy Aikman. They just cycled quarterbacks. They had a decent run with Tony Romo, but even with Tony Romo, it's like they didn't even make a conference championship. So again, it just baffles me that this whole organization gets the title of being America's team and constantly they just don't do anything to tell us that they are. At least some recent, last 20 something years. So overall, like, I do like them as a team to really be successful again. I just think they're always in a mix and in the hunt of being a playoff team, but can they be more? Like I said before, with Dak Prescott, it's more of just like he just needs to play better in these games. Twice, your conference champion, your conference semifinals record is 1-2. 0-3, and both times it's been to a team that defensively has been better than you, the Niners. So until you can get over, until you get the monkey off your back, so to speak, this team ain't going nowhere. So we could talk about them being a decent team. We could talk about being a playoffs. We talk this. At the end of the day, it's like it's just all hoopla and all the things we've heard for the last 20-something years. So, in my opinion, it's more of just like, all right, this team has gotten better. We think on paper. We think this team has gotten better on paper, and we'll just find out how Dak Prescott responds to all this because in general, it's going to fall on QBs in general in the league. But with Dak Prescott in particular, there's still a lot of pressure and a lot of stress coming his way, and we'll see what happens.
George is like one of those cuckoo birds that pops out of the clock, but like with random ass sound bites, just hoopla!
Yeah, that was a SpongeBob reference.
I'm about to say, well, definitely a SpongeBob reference.
That was a SpongeBob reference. Come on, man.
I know, but it was just kind of like,
He didn't know.
I don't know. I didn't watch. I don't.
It'd be different if it wasn't a reference. If I'm just like parroting everything.
Which season was this? Was this a recent season?
Old. That was like
old one. Okay.
Old, wasn't it?
Okay. I was back when the chocolate days. I like the that's one of my favorite. It was one of the goats. Sorry, go. Who's your number? It was just like he just like chimes in with a sound effect, and I'm just like, where did that come from? Almost.
Sir, that episode is from 2002.
2002. Yeah, I guess I should have seen that probably. I don't know. I didn't watch. I had weird So when I was in South Carolina, I watched exclusively Disney Channel when I was growing up till I was about 7. Okay.
Then how have you not seen Mighty Ducks before now?
It's not a Disney. I always watched the trailer for that because I used to watch Hocus Pocus growing up and out on VHS, and they showed the trailer for Mighty Ducks 2 all the time. So I knew I knew that part. That's the only thing I knew about the movie.
It was a Disney movie.
But but Disney Channel only shows TV movies. They don't show. That was a theatrical movie. Which
That was an actual movie.
Why the fuck was it theatrical? Like this is this is the next
good movie.
That's being generous, but
whoa.
Yeah, that movie's such a shit show, dude.
Disrespectful.
It's such a shit show, and we all know that the rival team, like they were basically trying to make that rival team from Iceland Vladimir Putin. Like, there's no doubt. Okay, they were trying to say this is Vladimir Putin if you were coaching.
I did not think Vladimir Putin would be getting mentioned.
Definitely the way with how overly villainous he was, and how much of a like we're gonna dominate the world and all this stupid shit. Like, come on now, that was definitely Putin-esque.
Well, we went left, folks.
Who's your number two?
About Putin, not so quite.
Who's your number two, George?
I also have the
Dallas Cowboys.
The Dallas Football Club.
We all do.
In second place in this division. I mean, I don't know. I like. Just read the chat. I like the Schottenheimer hire, but I agree in that I think Nick. I agree with Nick in that at some point, I mean, every team goes through a lull. I don't think we've ever seen a team just go the entire season without having at least a down point. It's a long season. It happens. But the thing is with the Cowboys and the way that they're structured right now as an organization, it would not shock me even a little bit if Schottenheimer is on the shortest leash, on the face of the planet. And as soon as something starts to go wrong, McCarthy's like, nope, we're doing it my way now. And then it all goes to hell in a handbasket. So that wouldn't shock me or surprise me even a little bit. Dak has to take, I would say, a huge step forward because as much as I like Tony Pollard, the team ran with Pollard and Elliott last year, and both were fine. I mean, serviceable. Yeah. But it was the passing game that let them down between, was it
for sure
Prescott, Cooper Rush, and I'm pretty sure they had another quarterback play at some point.
No, it's just it was just
Rush?
Rush and it was just Cooper Rush and
I must
Dak.
be thinking of another season when Dak missed time.
Yeah,
I like the addition of Brandon Cooks. I mean, I shouldn't say I love the addition of Brandon Cooks. I mean, he's just been a productive receiver everywhere he's gone. Their offensive line, if healthy, should be solid. Defensively, I mean, I'm looking at that defensive line, that pass rush, and it is formidable, to say the least. It is very, very solid. Their secondary is good. I still don't like Trayvon Diggs that much. I still don't think he's
He's somewhat booming blast.
I think he's a top 10 cornerback. I don't think he's top 5, but I think he's top 10 considering his ball hawkness. And he actually he didn't play that bad last year. You look at the numbers, it was sub 60.
He still got burned more times than not, though.
Think about it this way.
It's the big ones that kill him. He's very boomer bust.
Exactly.
I agree.
If a corner allows a 70-yard touchdown catch, on every other week or something like that, but he doesn't allow a catch outside of that, for instance, let's just say hypothetically, bear with me for this. And I mean, a minimal completion percentage, but he allows that 70-yard touchdown catch. The 70-yard touchdown catch is going to linger within people's heads, especially if you see it more than once, which we do, but it's not like he's getting burnt and repetitively burnt every week. Okay. It's one play here and there every couple weeks. And that's what is ingrained into people's heads to where they think he's a bad cornerback who's overrated. And he is kind of overrated. He is overrated, but he's still a good enough corner in my eyes.
I'm not saying he's not good.
Yeah.
I am saying I don't put him in the same stratosphere that a lot of people do. Just because, and thing is, like you said, it's every so often that people get burnt, that badly. But thing is, it's not just those plays that I see. It's the intermediate ones. It's the ones that, it might not have gone for 70 and a touchdown, but it was 3rd and 15 and he just got burnt for 20. There are those plays in his game that happen more frequently than the ones over the top that just get, blown past him.
Well,
those obviously.
It's not like the deep. He gets burned.
He's got a lot of deep balls he's coughed up.
Sure, but I mean, a lot of players. Coughed up. Whoa.
Oh, that didn't even make any sense. Deep balls.
Coughed up.
Deep balls, man.
Well, no, you said deep balls that he coughed up. I mean, they had to get deep somewhere.
Oh my God. I'm dealing with
You guys
a bunch
said it.
of.
You guys said
You
it. not
said
me.
it.
I said no
Oh my
such thing.
God. I just framed it.
You guys are the ones. Me?
Whoa.
I'm the good one.
Whoa.
I'm the good one.
I mean, and the
Astounding.
cross between
Yes, smile.
SpongeBob shit and talking about deep balls,
Shocking
and we're all a
behavior.
bunch of grown men out of here. You know?
Shocking behavior
Oh my God!
David,
And
you're-
sorry,
from
David,
both of
you
you.
didn't
And-
watch SpongeBob. What's going on?
and sorry, Courtney, and sorry to Nick and Georgie and anyone else out there that I'm a 29-year-old grown man who does not think about SpongeBob every second. Okay, so that's why I did not get the reference. Okay,
It's not that I only think about that. It's that my brain just goes through so many different things at one time.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Going back to deep balls and things of that nature. What are we getting at with Trayvon Diggs?
Come on, man. Really?
It was more of just like he allows the chunk
Uh-huh.
plays. So that's where people can feel like it's more on the occasions of he gets not exactly burnt, but it's more of he's gonna allow the chunk plays. So if I'm gonna have AJ Brown run a post corner, he's gonna have position. It's like he allows 25 yards on a post corner. It's like, oh boy, that happens a few more times out the game, and you're like,
To be fair,
all of a sudden, it's like Diggs. All of a sudden, one out of those 5 routes that gets ran, he picks one off. And it's like, okay, like now we're like, oh my gosh, yeah, he's a great corner because he could, he's a ball hawker. It's like because he got, again, we're not looking at the footage of how he got burnt on.
Yeah.
to be fair,
for that.
Also, I misspoke a little bit. I just wanted to clear up something real quick. It was 2021 where he allowed a sub 60% completion. It was 52.4% according to NFL Reference. 64% last year that he allowed, but he did allow less than 200. He allowed 225 plus yards less than he did the previous year. So it was somewhat improvement depending on how you view it.
What about his QB rating?
QBR. Is this? It doesn't say the QBR allowed. I can go into PFF and look it up.
Nick, to be fair, you said AJ Brown of all people, and I'm like, AJ Brown kind of gets position on any DB because he's either faster than them or just physically bigger than them.
Oh yeah,
I understand, but that's the player and team they have to go through. That's why I brought it up.
The funny thing is, I'm looking at it. Trayvon Diggs and AJ Brown are the same height. The only difference is that AJ Brown weighs 30 more pounds than him and is just as fast as him. That's absolutely ridiculous.
He's like 3 Trayvon Diggs put together.
Like weight wise, stupid.
Yeah. I can't find it. Anything else you wanted to add to Dallas? Be number 2.
Not really. I mean, there are a couple other depth pieces that I think are going to need to step up and have solid seasons. I mean, in the middle of their linebacking core, DeMarvion Overshown coming out of college, I think is going to end up being really solid. Sam Williams, as well as an edge rusher, showed some flashes last year. I think if he gets more of an opportunity, he'll be able to show out. In their receiving core, I know we were all high on him last year. I really still want to see what Jalen Tolbert can bring to the table. I really like his toolbox.
Yeah, me too.
What he can do. I think he is definitely another one who just needs the opportunity.
So they don't show QBR, but they show passer rating, and this year he allowed a 99.4 passer rating, which isn't great, but it's not like the worst thing in the world,
No, that's not like.
I get it.
Yeah,
but Gilmore, his teammate last season,
is better. He's better for sure, and that's why I am hyping up the Dallas Cowboys to get into my number 2. Very much believe this is a different team, I believe, this year. I have not felt, listen, I'm going to tell you, Mike McCarthy, we're not even excluding the Super Bowl win that he did win that everyone wants to forget about. And I'm not saying Mike McCarthy's a great coach. He's not an elite coach. And get away from there, so damn it. What is this? Just fucking 5-year-olds on this show I'm dealing with here. Damn.
You just don't know what a good show when it hits you, David.
Shut the fuck up.
You don't know what great shows are.
What are you talking about? I was watching The Boys there. You know what I've got into lately? Folks, check out the show The Bear.
Go watch Chainsaw Man.
Stop being a jellyfish, David.
Yeah, I know. It's the fucking SpongeBob shit.
What about jellyfishing?
No, I do not want to get into a conversation about it. That is a no-go. No conversation about jellyfishing. I love this team's pursuit in free agency.
Everyone, David is Patrick Starr.
Landing, yeah, you could say that. Brandon Cooks is my guy in free agency. I love that they landed him in a trade. And Stephon Gilmore, man, honestly, huge pickup. Okay,
maybe more like Squidward.
No, I can't do that. I'm talking like this, you know. And I don't have a dick for a nose, you know. Like
what, bro? He's just a squid, bro.
Oh, come on.
What did he ever do to you?
Don't tell me those drawers didn't know what they were fucking doing.
Oh.
Don't tell me that those drawers didn't know what they were doing. Those artists knew exactly what they were doing. Okay.
So why'd you make Patrick sound like Bubba? Like,
that's what he sounds like. Yeah, he fucking does. Yeah, he does. He sounds like he's got like 2 fucking bits of IQ up there, you know? Like he's got 2 fucking brain cells. Like he fried the rest of them, like, I don't know, huffing some fucking, you know,
whippets.
Yeah, or oil that was spilled at the bottom of the ocean. I don't know.
Are you trying to tell me that Bikini Bottom is like underneath like a BP plant or something?
It's
like
borderline apocalyptic. Yeah, it's radioactive down in that motherfucker. That's for sure.
It's Bikini Atoll where they did nuclear tests underwater.
But getting back to the Cowboys, I love this. This is going to be a different team this year, man. This defense was already ferocious with DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons, Lawrence Armstrong Jr. Am I still lagging? Am I good?
Yep.
Okay, I'm good. The pass rush is going to be great. This is a team that stunted the most in the NFL last year. Upwards of 40% of the time they were stunting. I think it's going to be great, especially if you get Sam Williams, your guy from Ole Miss, involved, right, George? It's going to be filthy,
beast,
man.
By the way.
He's fucking awesome as a pass rusher. I believe he could do some great things in this Cowboys defense. I really do believe so. They were 4th in the league in sacks already last year, so that could only go up, I think, if you get Sam Williams involved. CeeDee Lamb had a career year last year, one of the smoothest, most versatile route runners in the league. I believe he will build on it this year. They, of course, replaced Kellen Moore and added Brian Schottenheimer. Brian Schottenheimer did some great things in that West Coast offense with Russell Wilson, man. He really did some special things. Russell Wilson threw 40 touchdown passes with Brian Schottenheimer, okay?
No, it was more like George. What he said.
Oh, gotcha. Sorry, I can't tell when you. Good Lord is usually usually reserve that for me, you know. So like when you're like,
you're jealousy.
I'm jealous. You're not criticizing me right now. Damn it.
Because we agree.
I love their nickel package this year, featuring Diggs, Gilmore, and Bland. Man, it's going to be filthy. It's going to be so filthy to see them in nickel. Honestly, it's going to be so awesome. My one concern, though, as you brought up, and I totally forgot. When Tony Pollard broke his leg last year in the playoff game against the 49ers, Nick, you totally reminded me about that. I totally drew a blank about that. Is he going to be okay going up against physical contact again? He looked good in the non-contact drills against his teammates who are going easy on him.
Fine.
But against teams who are they could be hunting.
He had the tightrope surgery, so it was but something that so it's different. I guess it's different than you doing damage to your tip of your bone per se, like a chipping of the bone.
But those opposing defense, they could be hunting for that shit. I'm not saying bounties exist anymore that we know of, but
Sean
they
Payton
could be going for that shit. You know, who's still in the league? You said?
I don't know. I don't know about all that. I wouldn't say there's bounties, but I would say that it's a cause for concern. But it'd be different if it was like the way he recovered from it doesn't concern me.
I wonder how he's going to withstand physical contact going against 110 miles an hour coming at your leg, just flying at your leg. That's what I wonder about.
That's every running back right now. That's why trying to get
but coming immediately off, less than 9 months off of a broken leg injury, that's what I wonder about, So, but I still feel optimistic enough. I'm just saying that's a question mark, I think it'll be answered though. Dak has to be smart this year with not turning the ball over. He has to be more careful late in games, as you had said earlier, Nick. He's set up for success, though. So I believe the turnovers will be mitigated. They will be kept low. And it's going to be good. It's going to be good for the Cowboys. They do have I said the Commanders have a tough fucking stretch the second half of the season. The Cowboys, the second half of the season, last 8 games, at Carolina versus Washington versus Seattle versus Philly, all of which I view as playoff teams right there. At Buffalo, at Miami, versus Detroit, and then at Washington. That's an uphill battle. I believe they will win enough to hold it down, but damn, man, that is a tough second half of the schedule. It really is. Cowboys have got 13-4, maybe 12-5 this upcoming season. I believe they will do a good enough a job at getting the playoffs and being a contender. I believe this is a different team this year with the personnel they have. McCarthy knows he's got to do some big things. I believe in them. I really do. Let's get to our number one. Who have you got, Nick?
Eagles.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, let's face facts. The Eagles is, some would say, we're a few plays away from winning the title. I really like the Eagles squad because this is probably the balanced team in the NFL. We talk about position by position. We talk about offensive line because they're definitely ranked. You would probably say the best offensive line in the league.
Yeah.
Overall, I mean, give and take, right? I mean, we some of us have our favorites, but the Eagles definitely top three, if anything else. This team in general, like Jalen Hurts, like he's so young, like he's taking the league almost by storm. Defensively, like just got some monsters in the front seven. You got a solid secondary. Like, I mean, what more do you want? I think when it comes down to it with these Eagles, it's more of the only thing I had a problem with them last year, in particular, was their schedule. Because they had played so many easier opponents. They had like one of the easiest schedules last year. Mm-hmm. Now, because people will be hunting them down now and looking at them as like the cream of the crop, will they have more struggles this season than they did last year? Will there be times where Jalen Hurts is like Jalen Hurts?
I got to find the glasses.
So I think in particular, like, do the Eagles win 13 games again? I think they win 12, not 13. But
really now? Wow. Okay.
I think it's going to be from a standpoint of, because, like I said, you had played, you were one of the easiest schedules you played all year. Teams and schedule you play all year last year.
Yeah.
I think we have to take some type of account into that. In terms of that, do I still think they're the top of the NFC? Yes. I still think they're the top of the NFC. I just think they'll win 12 games just because I just feel like there's going to be a time in which we're going to look at this Eagles team and be like, all right, like they're just going to be in some type of funk. They're going to lose to a division foe maybe once, twice, and then we're going to kind of question how this team is going to either respond or bounce back. Like, are they going to be on a Super Bowl hangover? Maybe they miss a game or two coming out the gate. Like, these things happen with teams that have gone to the Super Bowl, whether they won it or lost it. Like, these things happen. So I think we're bound to see something like that for the Eagles. And it won't really be because of performance. It will just be more of because there may not be out of sync. There might be a Super Bowl hangover, like I said. These things that we might not see on a stat sheet are going to possibly show up for the Eagles and then be like, all right, like, because again, look at how teams in general, I mean, even the Chiefs in particular, right? Like the last several seasons for them, and then making it, not only go with the regular season and with being a great team, go into the playoffs and then be, for the Chiefs last season on the cusp of going to a Super Bowl and didn't. And then they had to go do that all over again. And they're like, okay, well, we got to start over. Every team starts over 0-0. And then it's like, okay, look at all the, just in general, we're looking at all that. And then they got to go to the playoffs. And then they got to go and beat these teams in the playoffs. Then we got to go win the Super Bowl. And then same thing for the Eagles. They get to the Super Bowl and they lose it. And it's like, all right, man, we got to make sure we're going to go back to the gym. We're going to go hard. We're going to go this. And it's like, but we got to do all this again. So part of that in particular doesn't necessarily come with analysis. It's just more like, hey, like, this is just the nature. And I think that may play a role into this upcoming season. You're losing your coordinators, so you're getting some new ones overall. So you might have some new systems now more in place defensively. The talent obviously is still there. Offensive talent is still be there. Like I said, all the nuances for the Eagles are still going to be there. Mm-hmm. It's just more of, again, I just feel like they're going to take not a step back entirely, but they'll take a step back in terms of reestablishing what they created last year and them having a somewhat harder schedule this upcoming season is going to play a role. Like, that's how I feel about it. I still think they'll win the NFC East, and it'll be the first time in 20-something years that we had a repeat division winner. Mm-hmm. But like I said, don't be shocked if we see the Eagles like have a moment or two in the season where we're like, what's going on with this team? Hurts throws an interception that costs them the game, maybe, or like defensively they don't show up like they're showing up like against a team that they should be. So again, these things that usually when we look at things in that nature, there's definitely just times where teams just don't get up for whatever happens. So it's just, I think some of these things that we're not seeing on paper and they show up every season, will show up for the Eagles.
Okay. I don't hate that take at all. I get it. They lost some guys this offseason with Kaiser White, T.J. Edwards on the offensive line, Isaac Seumalo, who went to the Steelers. So I can see there being a slump. But you did say that they would be at the top of the NFC. When you say they're going to be top of the NFC, do you mean that they're going to get things in gear by playoff time, or when they get to the playoffs, or do you mean they're going to finish as the number 1 seed with a 12-5 record?
I would say we'll see both. I would say finishing wise, and we talk about the NFC, like who's going to be, who can, and we look at it from schematically, we look at it okay, who's going to, be a player to be atop the NFC, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think we have to think about the Niners, in particular.
Okay. Right.
I think in a team with the Niners, we're talking about a team that we're talking about what ifs, but let's just say Brock Purdy doesn't get hurt that game. Mm-hmm. It's like Brock Purdy was playing some amazing football then.
Yeah.
Most of us most people didn't even know he was Mr. Irrelevant from this past draft. So it just kind of, we always play the what if game, obviously in football and in life, right? But it's more of, I think the Niners in particular, they match the Eagles when it comes to those things. The Eagles have a few more upgrades when it comes to comparison. But as far as how both of these teams are, you can't say the Niners cannot not be the top of the NFC. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a window of opportunity for these Niners to do that. Will it happen? That's why we got to play the games.
All righty. Okay. I feel you on that. What do you say, George? Number one,
the Philadelphia Eagles.
No way!
Wow, it's not the only team.
Your cheesesteak.
Are they? I've never had a Philly cheese, like an actual authentic Philly cheesesteak.
Good Lord.
No, I can be on that same. I can say
I've never been to Philly.
I've never been to Philadelphia.
Worse.
I have not.
Worse.
I've been to Pennsylvania. I've been to Pittsburgh and Harrisburg. I've never been to
Never been there. I've never been to Pennsylvania, I don't think.
What is going on here?
I've been to Honduras.
Get out more. Oh Lord.
I've been to Belize.
I'm sorry, I disappointed you, Papa Wilcox.
This is definitely a disappointing dad look face right now.
Yeah, I know. I see it every fucking week. It's seared into my brain at this.
Well, this is for George too, so it's like he ain't just you this week. It's him as well.
Split vision. You're going bug-eyed with us.
I was about to say that's fine. I am fine without going there.
Well, your dad's
exactly.
For our safety and security, there might be some rationale, Nick. Okay, I'm just saying.
I'm gonna walk out, say something good about David Wright, and get batteries thrown at me.
These are their fans in a nutshell. Okay,
Circumcise myself with a butter knife or a hockey skate real quick to get this Super Bowl.
That's what we're dealing with in a nutshell. Okay, and this
you
too.
have that on deck.
Arizona.
Right?
Balloons. Talking about huffing balloons in Arizona for the Super Bowl, okay? That's Eagles fans in a nutshell.
Are you saying that their fan base is not intelligent?
He's not.
I know my rights. Okay.
I
know my rights.
The fifth?
And I'm not going to comment any further.
Yep. Better be careful.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Better be careful.
Ninings, don't listen to what I have to say. I'm just being goofy, okay? I love you, buddy.
You better be careful.
What do you say, George? What do you say?
Yeah, there are a couple of the issues that this team found themselves in last year that are going to still be a problem. I don't love their wide receiver depth beyond A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Dallas Goedert is still a beast. Quez Watkins, I mean, Zacchaeus, I mean, it's fine. I'm curious to see what happens whenever Charleston Rambo is healthy and gets back with the team.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah,
I didn't love him in college the last couple years there.
Yeah, he did kind of go down.
I think I know Rambo has the skill set. I think he just needs to put it all together. The thing that I do have to say is, even with some of the losses on defense of some of those veterans, I think they did an excellent job replacing them with rookies and like through the draft or through free agency. I mean, on the secondary, bringing in Keely Ringo, Greedy Williams. I mean, just huge.
Yeah.
On the interior of that front seven.
Oh yeah,
Miles Jack, Nakobe Dean is going to have more of an impact. Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis. Like, you just have these absolute physical specimens just up and down this defensive lineup. I mean, I think this defense is still going to be really, really good next season.
Yeah.
Like,
it's going to be really good.
Jalen Hurts, I think, is going to be able to take a step forward. I love DeAndre Swift. I would really like to see a little bit more out of Kenny Gainwell. If any, at that point, who needs Quez Watkins? Put Gainwell in the slot. He played wide receiver at Memphis.
Why not?
It's true. So
shout out to Memphis Barbecue.
Which I have some downstairs.
I think I've had
made some
before.
this last weekend. We made some this past weekend. We
mail me some, damn it.
Give me a brisket sandwich.
Brisket is Texas
like
beef.
Brisket sandwich to go,
Brisket down where you at?
Yeah, it's just not that great.
Oh.
Texas brisket's better. I'll get you some ribs though. Some competition style ribs. Oh yeah. Do you like them wet, dry, or muddy?
Ooh. Well then. Muddy's different. What's
Wait,
muddy?
he said that.
Muddy? Wait,
What's
me?
Wet, dry, muddy.
Muddy is whenever you have both like the dry rub on top and sauce.
Oh yeah.
And it gets kind of like clumpy on top. It's good.
Clumpy on top.
That's the best way to describe it. It's like mud. Why do you think it's called that? We're very basic people.
Oh my gosh.
If there's an easy way to describe it with one word, we're gonna do it.
How many wins do you see from the Eagles this year, George?
They do have both NFC East and AFC East have really difficult schedules this season.
Yeah, Eagles especially halfway through before the bye, and the early part after the bye, it gets a little tough for them. The Eagles
right after the bye is rough.
Yeah,
like that is a stretch right there. Right after the bye. I still give them like around that like 11 to 13 win mark. I'd say. I mean, New England, Minnesota, Tampa, Anytime they play in division, I kind of take that as a coin toss. But with this division, Rams, again, I don't really see it with the Rams.
Yeah, like who gives a shit?
But yeah,
I feel you. Okay. I'm very high in the Eagles this year. I think there's a possibility either.
Give us your best. Give us your best Eagle noise.
Was that good?
No, not at all.
Or it's always sunny in Philadelphia. Is that it? Right? Is that how they do it?
No, Eagles don't make
boom, fat, boom, boom, fat. You remember that? Anyone remember that episode?
I know. I remember that.
Have you seen It's Always Sunny, Nick?
But not what you did. Not what you did.
That's what they do. That was awesome.
That was awful.
Courtney, that was awesome. No, I you know what? I'm gonna pretend I'm reading awesome right here, okay?
As our resident
fantasy world, okay?
As awesome. Our resident birdologist, and by that I mean one of my friends have a pet bird. Eagles don't make those noises, or eagles don't screech.
See, she admits I'm ahead. Okay, I'm ahead of the game. All right.
Yes, point one is ahead of 0.
The Eagles this year, they could be as high as 15-2. Okay, I think that's possible. I think
15 games, huh?
yes. I'm a little nervous in
Wanna
saying
bet
that though,
that?
because
Yeah, you're not that confident. I know you're not that confident in that.
I will. How about this? I'll bet they'll go 13-4.
No, you just said 15. You're not going down 2 games.
I didn't know. I said that's their ceiling. I don't think they're going any higher
Oh,
than
that's their
15-2.
ceiling now, huh?
You got to listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth.
Don't do it. Don't do a rush hour right now. No, just don't.
Don't have to touch it. No, I'm kidding.
No,
I'm kidding.
no. And plus, you can't say that. You're not Chris Tucker.
Oh, I love that, man. Go filter fish.
Oh wow! Now you're just making.
I love that they have the best. They have the best
to enjoy it.
outtakes in that movie. Have you guys seen the outtakes from Rush Hour and Rush Hour 2? The funniest shit ever. You know when he's like,
It's crazy how
Hour
they
2.
make a movie. Like
when he's talking to Jackie Chan when they're kicking the door down, and he's with Don Cheadle, and he's like, Jackie, we'd love to see that. Wouldn't we love to see it? Or they get into a fight with Don Cheadle, and he's like, Jackie, we'd love to see that. Wouldn't we love to see it? And he keeps saying Jackie over and over again. Jackie, we'd love to see it. Wouldn't we love to see that? And then Don Cheadle's like, his name is Lee. God damn it! And it's so funny, man. So great. I love shit like that. Have you seen Rush Hour 2, right, George?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Right. I was just gonna make sure you didn't get the disappointed dad look. I was gonna save you from Nick. Okay.
Sorry, I'm on Twitter.
I see how it is. Damn. I love the Eagles this year, though. I think 13.
yeah, David said they're gonna win 15 games. He said
I said stealing. Oh my God. That sounded like Will Ferrell for a second.
Yeah, I was kind of
Eagles offensive coordinator Brian Johnson taking over. He's a former quarterbacks coach from the Eagles after Shane Steichen left. And of course, they lost Jonathan again, their defensive coordinator. So I am curious to see how they fit. You know, they got Sean Desai replacement, which I'm not high on Sean Desai. He was a fucking catastrophe for the Chicago Bears.
well, you would know.
Yeah. I mean, trying to be Vic Fangio 2.0, and Jesus, he was like Vic Fangio's like demented, lobotomized brother. I mean, it was rough business.
That's just Jesus.
He's not obviously demented in real life, but his fucking decision making was just horrible. It was just horrible defensively. Eagles offense coordinator, though, I expect him to lean heavy on the RPO, spread West Coast, shit of that nature. Jalen Hurts was sensational last year when he was playing. He was sensational all year, including in the Super Bowl, where a lot of people thought he should have won Super Bowl MVP. Okay. Tremendous runner, deep ball passer that he evolved into was awesome to see. It was awesome to see. I think he's going to be, it was the epitome of next level leaping. And furthermore, I think he's going to take another next level leap. He's my favorite to win the MVP this year. He is my preseason MVP choice. He's also my number one stack choice with him and AJ Brown. I think that's going to be spectacular. One of the best wide receiver duos in the league with him and with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. They were also the first. I just found this out. In addition to almost setting the NFL single season sack record last year, they were the first Eagles duo ever to catch 1,000 yards as receivers in one season together. That's never happened in Eagles franchise history, which is kind of surprising when you think about it. When they've had a lot of glory years, offensively, Randall Cunningham and going back to the Norman Van Brocklin and Roman Gabriel years, Don McNabb even too, I think this is going to be an awesome offense this year. I know they lost Miles Sanders.
Never had another guy per se to get that type of caliber season.
What did you say? Who didn't get that caliber of season?
McNabb.
Oh,
he never really had like the 1-2. Like you have.
I thought Todd Pinkston could potentially be that, but he never was. He wasn't great. Or gosh, I'm blanking out on what's his name, but yeah, no, I thought there were some guys who could have potentially did it, and outside of just T.O. obviously, and then later on with Deshaun Jackson and all that stuff, but it never happened. Yeah. I love this team, though. I know they lost, but they replaced Miles Sanders with DeAndre Swift and Rashad Penny. DeAndre Swift is a great receiving back. I think he's going to do wonders that Miles Sanders couldn't do last year out of the receiving game. The key thing for Penny, though, and Swift, they got to stay healthy. That's the thing. If they stay healthy, they're golden, I think, this year. I think they're very much set up for success if they stay healthy. That's the key caveat of it all, though. Defensively, they replenished their safety core after losing C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Marcus Epps. They brought in Terrell Edmonds and Reed Blankenship. A lot of people don't know, but Terrell Edmonds, of course, is the brother of Tremaine Edmonds. serviceable enough guy. Not on his brother's level, but he did some decent things in Pittsburgh towards the tail end of his time there. He's kind of a jack of all trades guy. He has that capability of becoming that. He did some special things when he was at the University of Virginia. But Terrell Edmonds and Reed Blankenship are going to be stepping in. Reed did some good things last year too, allowing just 71 yards in coverage caught through 10 games and 4 games started. I am curious what Sean Desai has in store for Nakobe Dean this year. Okay, he's stepping up, of course, filling in the void with T.J. Edwards gone and Kaiser White gone. They run a lot of like Vic Fangio stuff, so a lot of cover 6 you'll see. So half cover 4, half cover 2. What are they going to employ with Nakobe Dean? Are they going to make him into a cover 2 vintage kind of cover guy? I mean, like a cover linebacker, like a Derek Brooks was, like a Brian Urlacher was. They did a lot of that, at Georgia with Nakobe Dean. So are they going to do the same thing over here? Especially
Dean,
with this?
He's from my neck of the woods.
Yeah. He's from Memphis, really?
No, well, he's from Horn Lake, Mississippi.
Or Horn Lake. Or
he's like even closer.
Similar, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like he's right down the street. Yep.
Okay, interesting. I want to see what they do with him, though. I really want to see what they do with him. My biggest concern out of everything, the health of the running backs and Sean Desai. He's not innovative. This dude was he was a mess in Chicago. Okay, he was a mess. I'm not big on that hire at all. But I don't know. He's got a lot of talent to work with. He's basically got the Georgia Professional Bulldogs to work with. So, that's pretty fucking good consolation prize a pretty good prize to be able to, not consolation, but regular prize to be able to bring in. It could be good for him. It could be a career. We'll see how it goes, though. I do have the Eagles. I'll go 14-3. I'll be middle ground of 13-4 and 15-2. They will upgrade themselves, and I think a lot of it will come from the passing attack and the run game, okay? I believe that's really what's going to hold it down for them. So that's what I've got. Alrighty, folks, we're going to hop off the stream. We're going to finish up the rest of the show on the TBQ Sports channel. We'll see you guys over there in a little bit. So we'll see you in a quick second.